It's time for a reality check.
We're here to deconstruct health and fitness trends and provide tangible advice so you can become 1% better with each choice starting today. Welcome back to Reality Check. We are your hosts, Jess and Jill. And today we want to talk about skinny. For one, skinny is trending. Hashtag skinny talk is like actually a thing right now, which I think is so interesting because I feel like we veered away from the word skinny for a little bit. Not that we weren't still taking crazy restrictive measures for weight loss and other variations, but the word skinny specifically is coming back. And I think that, and I just had this conversation recently, that it's so interesting that we've been operating for so many years with social media, social pressures and things around weight loss and fads and quick fixes. And it's always a different variation of an extreme calorie deficit at the end of the day. But now GLP-1s are in the mix. And it's crazy that we were always trying to fast track weight loss. And now this is like the fastest fast track available. And it even has some women coming to us saying, I know logically and realistically that I still need to change my behaviors for sustainable results at the end of the day. But it's really hard to be surrounded by so many people taking this injection and getting really quick results.
Or bragging about how much weight they're losing on it, but some of that weight is bad weight loss. Like I have a client who was on it and she was maintaining an appropriate amount of muscle mass, losing inches in body fat, but bummed out that she lost like half the weight of her friend who was on it. But it was like, well, but look at your inches. Like you've lost so much, but because you've maintained muscle mass, you didn't lose as much on the scale, but health-wise, you're in a way better position than that person, right? So weight loss is not the end-all be-all. It is interesting what you said about skinny, the word going and coming back, because it's almost like we are just always trying to find reasons to validate our own self-beliefs, right? Like it was like, okay, well, skinny is toxic, skinny is unhealthy, like all this stuff from the magazines from when we grew up, right? Through this era of, because everybody's obese, finding excuses to say, well, healthy at every size, we should celebrate everybody. And again, I agree. I hope that every woman can learn to love the body that they're in while also becoming healthier. But at the end of the day, that is not healthy messaging either, right? And now going back and saying like, oh, well, now that it's easy for people to get skinny again, now it's appropriate to say skinny again. It's like, what is this confirmation bias bullshit? Like we're just saying it because now it's easy. Like that's ridiculous. So anyway, through all those changes, through all those fads and phases, whether people are celebrating big is beautiful or skinny talk or whatever, our message, we want it to be that health is important. Resilience, improving your body composition through adding muscle tissue, which will help you with longevity. Like we want to promote that message regardless of your size, regardless of whatever the fads are of the day. And the only way to do that is to build a healthy body through your inputs, through exercise, through nutrition, no matter what tools are available for weight loss.
Yeah. And it's interesting. There are a lot of celebrities coming out and, I'm like a TikTok junkie. So like people are like throwing a lot of shade at certain celebrities that either are openly or not openly admitting to using weight loss injections for support on their weight loss journey. And obviously, I'm sure we can make some assumptions about, I think generally speaking, like we talked recently about celebrity trainers and I was like, who hires these people and how do they get their name to be so big when I see their social medias and I'm like, what are you teaching these people? But anyway, people are throwing shade at them for being overweight and promoting that in like you said, that like big is beautiful message, whatever it was. And now they're throwing shade at them for losing weight. And it's like, well, they're damned if they do and damned if they don't, which they're a celebrity. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles anyway, because people are assholes. But it's just interesting that there's so much judgment around it. And it's constantly a battle of people asking for GLP-1s on social media. And then everyone's like, GLP-1s are bad. And then there's this other camp that's like, GLP-1s changed my life. And I'm like, why do we always feel like we have to go to extremes? Like it's here and it's a tool and it's a resource and we can use it very responsibly or very irresponsibly. And I think that's the problem, is that people are using this now and willing to pay insane amounts of money to lose weight without having to change their behaviors, and they're creating
or improve
problem.
their health. They're not doing it and improving their health simultaneously, which is like key critical if you want good health. Just
like
taking
they think
this,
like obesity is the only problem that they're having, and if I eliminate this, then everything else is fine. And it's like, hold on a second,
you could actually end up with worse health if
Right.
you downregulate your metabolism, lose muscle mass, and are smaller, even though you're like, well, great, I feel good physically, I'm in a lower pant size. And it's like, okay, but if we're not actually doing these underlying health things in addition to that, right? Like, and I'm not saying losing body fat for some people who are overweight is healthy, right? Some of their health markers will improve. That is not the only metric to health, though, is what we're saying. And there does come this consequence of a downregulated metabolism, whether through GLP like use or whether through an extreme diet of any sort, right? So this metabolism downregulation happens. And then they come off of the medicine and they're going to gain all the weight back had they not actually improved their health.
I think the hard part too is that so often, and I feel like we all kind of experience this to some degree, we're a lot more resilient in our teens, 20s, right? In terms of health. God knows my diet was atrocious in my early 20s. I didn't know any better. So part of what Jess and I do, and I think part of why we were put on this earth, was to help people understand and have that education and have all of the knowledge at their fingertips so they can make the decision that's best for them. However, I think that the really hard part about differentiating weight loss and health is that people see weight loss, they see their body, they see their pant size, but a lot of times you don't see the negative repercussions from a health standpoint until you reach a diseased state where you now have to be reactive, right? Because of the way that our healthcare system is. And it's not proactive. It's not catching things early. It's like, there's no early, they say early detection, but what about prevention, right? I think I saw a post about that recently. It's like, early detection is cool, but I don't want to wait until you detect the disease or the cancer or the problem. I want to be proactive and not ever get to that point and have to crawl out of a hole. And coming from someone who went through such an atrocious time with my health in 21 and 22, I did not you don't value your health fully, I think, until you feel what it feels like to start to lose it, and feel like you have no control over your body. And it's really scary. And I fall in that category, right? Where like I probably was pushing, not probably, I know I was pushing the limits in terms of my stress, in terms of my workload, like sleep when you're dead vibe. I say that all the time. And I took it for granted. And when it was almost taken, I was like, whoa, like I have to make a change. So it's really tough to think about that because GLP-1 gives us that instant dopamine hit. And of course, we're surrounded by people that are commenting, you lost weight, you look great, oh my gosh, all of these things, right? So they're validating it, even if it was, not self-serving behaviors for your health mentally, physically, or emotionally that got you to that point. So this is a really tough thing to watch happen. And honestly, it sounds bad. It's job security for us, though, because we now we know we're going to have to pick up the pieces for a lot of these people later. And we
already have.
Yeah.
Like we have a lot of women who come to us and they're like, I just can't afford to keep taking this stuff. And now I'm starting to gain weight back and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, cool. Like this is our bread and butter, whether you lost the weight on that or some other way, right? Like no matter how you did it, that's what we focus on, is how we can help you improve your base metabolic rate and develop healthy habits that are consistent, not extreme, not yo-yoing, not all or nothing. Like what could you actually sustain for the rest of your life? And we're going to layer those habits in. I think you touched on a good point mentally too, because I'm thinking physical ramifications. Oh no, if people only focus on skinny and not strong, they're going to break a bone when they get old. If they do break a bone, they're going to die in the hospital because their body's not as resilient. Like I'm thinking of all these health things of putting skinny over health. You said also the mental aspect of it. I know there's 2 clients that I have right now and there's other clients I have recommended. Like we partner with a nurse practitioner who does this stuff. So there's clients that I have recommended. They'd probably be good candidates for it. They have underlying autoimmune things. They have done all the right things. They're at a high calorie amount. So their body's probably going to respond well. Right. Like, so I have some people that I want to preface that before I say there's clients that I've recommended don't go on it. there are some clients that I've recommended really do not go on this because they are not in a place physically or mentally where it will serve them. One, they're already at such a low calorie place and not responding that it's good. What are you going to cut from 1,200 down to 800, down to 700, down? Are you just going to starve yourself? Like that is, you're going to become malnourished, right? So that's the one side. But the other side is this mental thing where they're like, well, I don't care. I'm not going to reverse diet. I'm not going to do a muscle building phase. I'm just going to go get on these meds because I need to see weight loss now, which is now giving their brain this little dopamine about the scale again. They've already got this toxic relationship with the scale where they see that as the value to themselves. Whereas when we're properly able to reverse diet somebody and bring them through a muscle building phase, they start to see the scale go up while their body still stays the same and they feel good in their clothes. And they realize like, oh, wow, weight doesn't equal body composition and how I feel. And it starts to take the power away from the scale. If somebody is fresh out of this yo-yo diet cycle and then they go onto these medicines to lose more weight again, they're just continuing that dysfunctional mental cycle too. So I think that that needs to be taken into consideration if a practitioner is working with somebody, if they are an appropriate candidate or not.
Yeah. And it's when we talk about like, is the trade-off worth it? Like you whether you're taking GLP-1 or not, right? And GLP-1 ties very heavily into this topic of skinny trending again, because I think it's part of why.
Because it's easier now. Like it just makes the deficit easier, period.
Easier.
That's it. And this is not there's no shame in that. Use it as a tool to make a deficit easier. But because it is easier to get skinny, now everybody's like, oh, I want to be that too. And it's like, okay, cool. It's a fad. Like, is that health?
Yeah, no. And it's like, is that trade-off worth it for you to see the scale go down, for you to lose, especially like you said, if you're already chronically dieting, living in a deficit, hanging on for dear life to where you are, and you feel like if I increase calories, I don't like where I am, but at least I'm not getting worse, right? And then we have these clients that have such a toxic relationship with the scale, and they are like, I need, like you said, GLP-1, I have to do this. And it's like, is that trade-off worth it? You just came to me and said, you can't get out of bed in the morning and that you crash every day at 2:00 and then you can't have sex with your spouse because you are like so self-conscious and you're irritable with your kids and you cry after you send them to bed. Like that's debilitating in my opinion in your day-to-day. Is that 5 to 10 pounds that you might lose? That's not even fat loss fully at the end of the day. Is that worth it? And I can't believe how many people, and I'm not judging you for it, I just wouldn't make this decision, say that's worth it. Like that trade-off, that I'm willing to take my chances essentially. Or they're like, I swear I'll do it your way if I just get the scale down a couple more pounds. And it's like, at the end of the day, what is that really going to do for you? Nobody knows that you lost 5 pounds. And honestly, when you're losing weight in this manner at such extreme lengths, now, if you lose 20, 30 pounds, yes, it's going to be a visible difference. But when you're like really like treading water, trying to lose 5 to 10 pounds and go even more extreme, like adding in like a GLP-1 or just dieting harder, I got to be honest, nobody's even really going to notice that you lost that. It's unlikely that it's going to be visible.
And they might, but like for me, and obviously this is what I do for a living, right? So it's very easy, I think, for me to notice. But like I have friends or acquaintances that I know are taking this in a healthy way and that I know are taking this in an unhealthy way because it's visible. Like you can tell when, and this is like the term skinny fat that people used to use for runners and stuff like that. It's like, if you get smaller, but you do not change your body composition, meaning your muscle to fat ratio stays the same, or maybe it even goes in a negative direction where you lose more muscle mass. If that happens, you become a smaller version of the same figure, right? You're not becoming a more like whatever that shapely toned look is that a lot of women think that they're going to become if they just lose a couple pounds, right? You need to build muscle in order to do that, along with all the health benefits that come with muscle. But I do think it's pretty noticeable too when people are doing it in a healthy way and you're like, damn, they got ripped pretty quick. Okay, they probably are lifting. They're probably eating enough protein. They're probably doing all the basics. They probably set themselves up by reverse dieting or not dieting for a good amount of time before they use that tool, because then the tool becomes easy, just like a normal diet. Like that same thing happens if I have a client right now. She's awesome. She's 55 years old, postmenopausal, signed up with us. And after a couple of weeks was like, okay, I get it. Like it probably is going to take me 6 months to put on 5 to 6 pounds of muscle. Like, let's do it. A full 6 month build before we cut. we're at about month 6. And she said, okay, how long can I push it? I'm with you for a year. Can we do an 8-month build? Because she knows the longer we build, the easier that diet is going to be on the other side. When she goes into a deficit, she's going to lose body fat like that. And this is somebody who's already visibly fit, right? But the more time spent at those high calories first, the easier your diet is going to be and the less of your life is going to be spent needing to diet. So again, priming yourself first is important. And then protein, strength are important, whether you choose to lose weight or not. So again, we just want to kind of shift the narrative again back from skinny to healthy, to strong, to resilient. Building, you cannot buy a resilient, healthy body. You can build a resilient, healthy body. You can buy weight loss right now. And honestly, it's, again, what a delight that we live in a world that now has that tool. But if it's not used appropriately, it's going to end up skinny, not healthy. And again, if you look at people in the last like 10 years of their lives, how many older, I'm thinking of my grandmother. She passed away in the last couple of years. She was probably like 90 pounds, maybe 80 pounds by the end of her life, where she's just frail, withered, no bone density, no muscle mass, where it's scary, right? Like if you're in that state, you're small, right? She's fitting in clothes well, right? But how valuable is being skinny when your health really depends on it? What happens if you get cancer and you need to go through chemotherapy? What happens if you break a bone and you end up in the hospital where you physically can't move? Your body and the lean tissue in your bones and your muscles, they take care of you. They sustain you through those times. So again, when we are young and we're taking advantage of this life that we have, like, yay, my body is able, again, thinking back to like both of our 20s, right? I can do whatever I want. I'll drink all the caffeine drinks. I'll do this. I'll stay up I'll just grind in the gym, because our bodies bounce back pretty easily. There comes a point in our life where it becomes harder and harder and harder to bounce back. The more time spent on true health before then will allow you to be okay and live longer and sustain through those hard times in life when stuff happens, when you get an injury, whatever the case may be.
You know what, too, I think another like major problem in our society and healthcare system and the way that it works is that if you smoke cigarettes, we know, and there is a clear correlation that it can cause cancer, right? Like if somebody who smokes gets lung cancer, we're not scratching our heads wondering, how did I get lung cancer, right? But there's a major disconnect when it comes to all of these other health conditions because we take such a reactive and symptom-based approach. Whereas I don't think psychologically a lot of people are making the connection between their obesity and the lack of muscle and all of the health conditions that come with that down the line. If you read a textbook, you'll know that, but that isn't like mainstream health education. And I think that's what's scary. And I think that if we had more information to make informed decisions for people around their health and their just day-to-day behaviors and habits and choices, that we might start to see a shift in people that are like, okay, I might not have air quotes time in my day, which we all do, to work out or to meal prep or whatever. But if you know what happens if you don't like truly make a connection, you might be like, shit, this is hard and it's annoying and I have to flip my day upside down for a couple of weeks until I get used to this, but it's worth it. And I don't think we have that connection generally.
I mean,
as a society.
We don't, based on the pandemic.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, 98, I want to look it up to make sure I'm saying the right thing. Maybe it was 80 something. Maybe I'm flip-flopping it and it was 89, but north of 80% of the people who died from that illness had 4 or more comorbidities that could have been prevented through exercise and nutrition. 4 or more comorbidities. This is not a thing where, there's sickness going around and everybody's going to die. Everybody's dying because we're unhealthy at a root level. And that unhealthiness doesn't just go away.
I don't think that was the message
now.
That was pushed.
No, it wasn't. That's why, I'm agreeing that our society doesn't know about it. How sick is that, right? Like that genuinely people could prevent death from strength training and eating protein and eating whole nutrient-dense foods, because that is what prevents all these comorbidities. That's what prevents all this metabolic disease that we're all dying from. diabetes, cancer, heart disease, these big things are physically reversible with behavioral inputs.
Yeah, no, and I think there's that. And then I think the other like behavioral slash psychological component that people need to consider, and this was again a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, was a lot of the women, and I'm speaking in these big generalizations because obviously these are the women that come to us all day, every day, right? But speaking to that population specifically, these people are chronically underfed, overworked, they're exhausted and not getting enough sleep, they're not getting enough doing enough stress management, supporting their nervous system. So naturally, you are looking for the quickest way out of like, all of this shit sucks and I feel fat. So at least if I don't feel fat, then maybe I can tolerate being tired, right? Like, I know that's not what you're actually thinking, but we play back all the conversations I've had, that's really what you're aiming towards at the end of the day. And we're not thinking about, people come to me and say, I just need a meal plan. And I'm like, then I'm not the service for you, because I want you to actually learn and understand nutrition and how food impacts your body in good ways and in bad. That's going to serve you for years and years to come, well beyond our time together. Me giving you a piece of paper telling you what to eat at 12 o'clock p.m. every day does not help you change your behaviors and actually understand nutrition at a foundational level. So I think we're always looking for the quickest way out. And GLP-1, we think if I lose weight, probably all of these other issues will correct. And I got to tell you, they're not.
And they won't.
They're going to get
It's like
worse.
wearing makeup and hiding it, right? Or a man growing a beard and hiding his, right? Like, it's like, okay, you still got the same face underneath that beard, right? Like wearing a push-up bra, you're covering up whatever the thing is, you're not actually changing it. I just looked up that stat so that I'm not just out here spewing bullshit. And this is reported by the CDC, so I'm sure that this is also skewed. 94% of individuals who died from COVID had at least one additional underlying health condition. But on average, there was 2.6 additional conditions for anybody who died. Another specific CDC study showed that over 75 of COVID deaths amongst this group had 4+ comorbidities. Okay, so that is a vast majority had that many comorbidities that are completely healthy. Like, again, I'm saying that, yes, somebody who's healthy could get cancer, right? You don't get 4 comorbidities with a healthy lifestyle that just fall in your lap, right? So anyway, that's that. Yeah. We just care about health, and we care about sustainability of health too. A lot of times I ask people the question, and the answer is always like, but can't I have both? And like, no, you kind of can't. What do you care more about? Do you care about quick weight loss, or do you care about keeping the fat off? And usually people are like, well, I want to lose it quick and I want to keep it off. And it's like, okay, those two things almost never go hand in hand, because you have to build the habits required to keep it off. You have to build the metabolic machinery required to keep it off. And that takes time. That usually, when done properly, does not result in quick weight loss. You may still lose inches if you're doing it right. You may feel better in your body. You probably will. But usually it's a trade-off of one versus another. Another analogy I hear a lot is like, a lot of people who win the lottery end up broke within a few years. And it's because they never actually learned how to manage finances or a budget. They just were thrown this quick win, cool, and then they spend it all because their habits never changed. Now I have no money again, right? So it's that same exact concept when it comes to health inputs and habits. So again, I feel like this is the message that we wanted to get across here, is just in a world where right now skinny is more attainable, please still consider choosing health and choosing strength over just weight loss. We are not against fat loss, right? We do believe that most people's health will improve if they lose some body fat. But please, please, please don't do it at the sake of your health. Eat a lot of protein, lift weights. You cannot surpass the basics and yield health results.
Yeah, and you don't want to trade that long-term function for that short-term dopamine hit. And I also want to give this very logically and directly, because sometimes people are like, well, I don't understand why you don't like cardio, or I don't understand why you don't like this, or they think we're haters. we are sending this message to you because we personally live it and experience it, but we've helped so many women get to a point where they do have a healthy relationship with the food and the scale, and they stop focusing on just solely weight loss, and they move well, and their labs are improved, they sleep well, their relationships are better, right? We have seen it happen. We have created that transformation so many times. So we're preaching this because we know that that's possible for you, and you are not an anomaly. I just shared on my Instagram story the other day that I'm only like, I think I'm 3 pounds heavier than this other picture that I shared, and I'm so much healthier mentally and physically. And I was eating 900 calories in the gym 6 to 7 days a week, 2 hours at a time, doing insane amount of cardio, always worried about calories and how food affected me, and binging, and just had a horrible relationship with my body and with nutrition. We share this so strongly and so frequently because we know that you do not have to live that way. So I just want to be super clear about that message overall.
Yeah, this is coming from a place of we care. We really, really care about the women that we work with and want to help people with health, period. We are not judging that you want to feel better in your skin. We hope you can feel better in your skin too. We just want health to come along with it.
Yeah. So hope that was helpful. Skinny is trending, and we are here to make healthy and strong trend harder than skinny ever will. So hope this episode was helpful, and we'll see you guys next time.